Hello, my dear students. So, I hope all of you are doing good, right? Yes. So, now, why am I here? In the last 15 to 20 days, I have been receiving a lot of questions from your side, which I've tried compiling and I'm trying to answer it out of my experience and the experience of the past, students who have written examinations in the past. So, before I start off, one disclaimer here. Maybe you may not agree with my answer sometimes. It may happen that you have your own strategy, own methodology, and you like to follow it. No harm in that, correct? So it's just that I'm giving answers from my side. I'm just sharing my point of view on this. If you like it, if you think you can follow it, please do that. Otherwise, it's completely okay, right? Yes. Now, as you could see here, it's for CA Foundation, paper number 2A, Business Laws. So you might ask me first a question, sir, can't we use it for other subjects? You can use it by making some changes, right? Because it's not that completely everything will change for other subjects. It remains the same, except for a few things. Okay. Your time starts now. Why? Why have I written this? Because you're done with your classes. You've completed your classes, isn't it? Attending, watching, whatever. And now you have certain questions which you have posed before me, which I have answered here and there in my classes as well, some of them or most of them. And now again trying to answer them. So that's where I have named it as FAQs, frequently asked questions. Okay. So the first question which we have is your favorite question, how to study law. See, it's a simple thing. Whenever you study any subject, especially in professional examinations like CA, you just don't read it. You read in such a way that you understand the concept and you get that ability to apply it. So that's what you have to do here as well. Okay. In the paper law, read, understanding the concepts properly, and should be having the ability or confidence to also apply them, and read in such a way that you don't waste too much of time there. Okay, read it faster so that you can do multiple readings. And once you do the multiple readings and complete a particular topic, okay, like suppose you have completed the topic free concerned, okay, all the concepts you have read. Now, as before going to the next topic, legality of object and consideration, first you should revise that. Revise what? The concepts or the keywords. Okay. And something optional I have written here, if you observe. What is that? Write some keywords in a notebook. When you're reading, probably if you get bored, then you can do that. Okay, and those keywords can help you to recall the subject later, right? Plus, if you have not solved any question, if you have not done any, writing practice, then probably you can do that as well. So this is how you study law. There's no, formula or no, magic there which you should be applying here. Simple thing, right? Keep reading. By reading conceptually and understanding the why part of it, right? Should be able to apply that and do the multiple readings. It will help you to remember concept and then revise it. Okay. Yes. Now the second question which you have is, sir, how to score maximum marks? How to score like 60 plus, 70 plus, 60%, right? Or 70% of the marks in this paper as well. There's a simple rule here. You should practice, practice and practice. Plus, not skip anything. That means 100% coverage of the syllabus is what you're expected to do. Remember, this is a professional examination, right? So you cannot afford to skip anything. Everything is important. So you have to study fully. There's no compromise on this. Now, coming to practice, if you just observe, I've written there, doing reading. Okay, practice, when we say doing reading, multiple readings, as I've told you earlier, plus doing writing practice. And when you do writing practice, please follow some tips, which I'm going to share later, okay, in the later part of the video, right? And apart from this, now most of us do this, right? We cover completely the syllabus, we also practice, but then we miss out on something. And what is that something? If you just observe, confidence is that which you miss it out. So that's where I've talked about, or I've written here, carry that requisite confidence in the examination that yes, I know it and I'm going to kill it. Yeah. So this is how you can score maximum marks. Okay. Then how to write the answers, sir? What are the tips for presentation? Should my answer match with the ICAI answer? See, nothing like that. You can write in your own language as well, but it should convey the same meaning. Now, when I say write in your own language, doesn't mean the day-to-day language which you use. It should be sophisticated language. And how do you get that sophisticated language? Simple English. If you're from English medium, obviously, I'm talking about English medium, students here. So simple English, which is grammatically correct. because if grammar is not correct, it can change the meaning. So you have to be very sure that the grammar is correct there, and use maximum legal terms, right? Technical terms, legal terms, and also euphemisms. What I mean by euphemisms is use less harsh language, right? Use polite words. Okay, so that you should try to, because if you use polite words, obviously the other person reading your paper gets impressed. So combination of these things will make the language look sophisticated. This is one. Okay, so it's not like it should match exactly with ICA answer, nothing of that sort. Then coming to types of questions, coming to how to write the answers, or what way we should write the answer. So first of all, understand that there are different type of questions which can be asked in the examination. What sort of questions can be asked? Maybe a descriptive or theory question can be asked, which can be answered point wise. Okay, descriptive or theory wise, simply point wise. Let's say they ask you what is the procedure for incorporating LLP. So you'll write as it is, what are the steps or what is the procedure, one by one, point wise you have to write. Okay, what are the features of a company? Again, point wise we'll be writing. So please remember, a descriptive or theory question should be written point wise. Avoid writing paragraphs, because the person who's correcting your paper may not be that much interested in reading paragraph. Okay, then secondly, the second type of question, the case law question, or the practical question, which we call it as. So here we have to be careful that we write the applicable provision first. Okay, because if there is some case which you need to answer, you'll think of some provision, right? And based on that provision you'll answer. So first write the applicable provision, then write facts of that question, then explain, that means analyze that particular case in the light of those provisions, and then try to conclude. So whatever is your explanation and all should be there after provision and facts. Okay, and then finally the conclusion. Conclusion is exactly what is the answer now. Okay, therefore the contract is valid, therefore the contract is void, therefore the person is eligible to receive damages, right? So whatever is your conclusion, that should come at the end. Don't give the conclusion in the beginning. Many of the students make this mistake. They write first the answer, directly the conclusion. Yes, the contract is void because of so and so. No, this is not the pattern. Please follow this particular pattern. Okay, provision, then facts of the case, followed by explanation or analysis, and then lastly the conclusion part. Okay, and not to forget that when you are writing the answers for this case laws, please personalize the answer. So if the question is pertaining to Mr. X, answer, okay, conclude for Mr. X. If they say, so does Mr. X is eligible for the remedies? So you'll say yes. In the answer you'll conclude it by saying what? Yes, Mr. X is eligible for remedies. So don't leave it just like that, but try to personalize the answer is what I would like to say when it comes to practical questions. Then third is distinguished type of questions, differentiation. So that you have to prepare a table, right? Give the basis for difference and then differences in the two columns. But if you say, sir, we don't have exactly these points of differentiation, then the other way is you can just write the concept 1 and state whatever points you have, and then concept 2 below that and state the points. Okay, so this is how also you can do it. So this is the second way. First way is prepare a table and differentiate if you have several points. If you don't have several points, only concept you're sharing, then this is also possible. Right, sir. Then you'll say, sir, one more type of question is possible, like MCQ type of question, true or false question with reason. So that anyways, if true or false, then true or false. If they're asking true or false, state true only or false only. Don't say correct, incorrect, right, wrong. Okay, whatever wordings they've used, use that and give the reason if they're asking for the reason. Okay, and same way the MCQs based, that you have to answer that. Anyways, that's where I have not written here. Acha. Not to forget that you should not be quoting section numbers unless you're very confident about it. Because if you write a wrong section, you're implying that you don't know that section. Correct. Suppose the question is pertaining to section number 25, but instead of writing section 25, you've written section 26. So this implies that you don't know 25 as well as you don't know 26. Because if you were aware of 26, don't you think you wouldn't have written it here? So don't do that mistake. If you're confident, please quote the section number, same way the citations of the cases, otherwise ignore it. At foundation level, it's not expert knowledge which they're expecting, correct? So if you forget the numbers, but you're writing the concepts properly, you get marks, you can score very well. Okay, so keep in mind, because this is again a favorite question. Sir, should we quote section numbers? If you remember perfectly, quote it. If not, ignore it, but write the answer properly. Okay, so that the person correcting your paper, that is evaluator, forgets that you have not quoted the section number, right? So such a way, such a beautiful way you have to write the concept or the provision, okay, or the answer rather. Then One more thing I've stated there, be precise, okay, don't elaborate too much. And how will you decide the length of the answer? Because you'll say, sir, be precise, okay, we know, but how much length should we be writing? How much preciseness should we maintain? See, that depends upon the relevance of that particular topic, concept, and also the weightage of the marks. How much is the weightage? If it is for 2 marks, if it is for 3 marks, it is for 4 marks, accordingly you have to decide. So this is something subjective and you have to take a call on of it in the examination. But yes, this can help you to decide how much should be the length. But one thing for sure, don't elaborate, don't give the same point again and again by way of by different ways. Okay, right, sir. So when I said here that you have to follow the tips for presentation, so what are those tips for presentation? Some of them I've tried compiling, maybe useful, and some of you might think, oh, what is this? We know it, but still yes. See, this is a comprehensive video which I'm making, trying to pinpoint on each of the things which probably you should know, you should remember. Okay. So now, tips for presentation includes answer point wise, as I've told you, not paragraph wise. And when I say point wise, skip writing numbers 1, 2, 3. Point can be even indicated by a simple bullet point. Okay, instead of using numbers, you can go for this, okay, small dot or maybe arrow. Each point should be of 3 to 5 lines. Don't exceed, otherwise it becomes a paragraph. Take care of the alignment as well when you're writing the answers point wise. See that each dot is coming exactly in the same line that you need to take care. If you can avoid side headings unless you have a lot of time, because if you don't have much time, you should not be wasting your time writing side headings. Rather, whatever word you want to use in side heading, that word in the sentence can be written in capital letters. So the alternate I have given. If you don't have time to write side headings, you should skip that and focus on what? Those words in capital letters. Write those words in capital letter. Then avoid overwriting. Right, overwritings, see how shabby it looks. I have given the example here. No spelling errors. Okay, it's not that they're going to be very particular about the spellings, but still I would say try to avoid spelling mistakes. Okay, then sir, which color of pen we should use? It's only black which is allowed as per your ICAI regulations, and that too ballpoint pen. Gel pen can be used. It's not that gel pen cannot be used, but understand, if the gel pen is of a poor quality and if some liquid falls on your paper while the evaluator correcting your paper, just imagine, and maybe the liquid falls, then it gets all spread, right? It all will spoil the content. So that's where gel pen of a good quality can be used. Okay, apart from ballpoint pen. Acha. Then pencil is allowed, as you know, but don't start writing answers with pencil. Maybe underlining part and all, drawing lines and all, you can do with pencil. Okay. Achha, one suggestion from my side, please use the same pen which you have been using in your classes or practice time. You use a new pen in the examination, you try to experiment with the pen. It may so happen that you're not comfortable because it is slippery, or maybe it is blotting too much, all problems. So avoid that, use the same pen. Okay, please understand. Okay, no, my Pantulu said, my Pandit said that this is the pen you have to use. Please understand, don't experiment in the examination. Okay, otherwise you will become an experiment. Yeah, then one pen per paper. So 4 papers if you have, please use 1 pen for each paper. Because of blotting thing and all, it gets darker, so avoid all that. Okay, and use 1 pen per paper. No multiple colors of pen, I guess you know that. No highlighting should be there, no circling, no designing and all. Okay, however, if you want to do underlining with pencil, you may do it, but again, please remember, don't start doing it from the beginning. Once you complete your answers, okay, complete paper, first complete all the answers, and after that, if you are left with time, do the underlining part or drawing lines and all if required for the tables or somewhere, then do it. But don't do it in the middle because you're wasting your time. Remember, time is very important, right? You have to write the exams, isn't it? Write the exam, but remember, write the exam within 3 hours. And this particular paper 2 has got 2 sections, section A and B. I'm talking about section A, so 1 hour 45 minutes is what maximum time you should be thinking of. Okay, then bullet points or answers inside the margin. Only question number, bit number should be outside the margin. Please don't forget to code the question number with bit number. Many of the students write everything but forget to write the question number or the bit number. They will not evaluate our answers. So guys, be careful about this as well. Okay, write each answer on fresh page, right? Write each answer on fresh page. But you'll say, sir, only 3 bits true or false they have asked, so then also I should go to the fresh page. No, See, reasonableness also you have to apply. You should be a rational person. Don't follow as it is what I'm trying to say. Understand the reasons. Yeah, try to understand the spirit behind it. Okay. Don't waste time drawing lines until all the answers are completed. I have already mentioned. Flowcharts, diagrams should be used only when they are specifically asking for it. Otherwise, don't give your answer by way of a flowchart or diagram. No, that's not correct. Then one suggestion from my side again, if you can follow, don't use complete cursive handwriting because people may not be able to understand that. Okay. Short form should be avoided unless and until ICI themselves have used it, or maybe it's a universal short form, like I've written the example, CO dot always means company, LTD means always limited. So if it's universally used, then you can use it as well. Or third possibility is if you yourself have defined it in the answer. Suppose you are writing 2A and there you want to use some short form and you have defined it. Okay, you have defined it. Then can you use it? Yes, you can use it. Okay, like ratification, you have written there RATIF. Okay, within brackets, and then you want to use it. Okay, use it. Okay, but remember, those defining should be done question specific. It's not that you defined in question 1 and you can use it for complete paper. No. Again, if you want to use that short form, again you have to define in the next question or next answer. Okay, so take care of this. Then sequence of the questions. This is again a common question asked. See, you can select whatever question you want to write first. Okay, there's no harm. But remember one thing. If you have selected question 1, if you want to write answer for question 1 first, then complete all the bits of that question 1 in any sequence. You can write first D, then A, then B, then C. That's not a problem. But first complete all the bits of the question which you have attempted. Suppose you have attempted question 1 completely. Then go to question 2. In question 2, again, if you are attempting question 2 next, then all the bits should be covered. Then let's say you want to attempt question 5. Again, all the bits of question 5. So on. Okay. So take care of this. Then remember the time. Okay, the time. Maximum how much time you will get to answer each question for this? I'll say 20 minutes. Because as I've told you, 1 hour 45 minutes is the time which you normally get for business law and 1 hour 15 minutes for BCR. Okay. So 1 hour 45 minutes makes it 105 minutes and 5 questions is what you need to answer. So each question, I'm saying not each bit, each question you get how much time to answer? 20 minutes maximum. Okay. Yeah. Then I hope you're aware that in this paper number 1 and paper 2, which is subjective paper, you will be given 15 minutes of time to read, correct? Before your examination starts, you will be given 15 minutes. So the writing part starts at, let's say, 2 o'clock. So 2 to 5 will be your writing part, and 1:45 to 2 is given to you to read that paper. So I would suggest that read the complete paper carefully in those 15 minutes and also decide which one you don't want to write, because you'll have some choice. So decide what you don't want to write in those 15 minutes and don't waste your time when you have to start writing. Once the writing time starts, you should not be pondering on which question I should not be attempting or what I should not be writing. Don't do that mistake. Okay, so use the first 15 minutes very carefully to read as well as decide. Acha, and one suggestion from my side, the first question, which is compulsory question in business laws, okay, business laws, don't read that in the beginning itself. Read that at the end, because once you start writing, you can write question number 1, which is compulsory, first. So what you can do is you can skip the question number 1 and read it later and immediately start writing. Okay, once the writing time starts. Okay, that's one more thing. Then alignment, I have told you earlier, also should be properly done so that it looks good as well. So these are some of the tips with respect to presentation, with respect to writing. I hope it's useful. Now the next question which probably people ask, or the students have asked us, sir, is memorizing required? And if at all required, then how to memorize? And the answer is very simple again. Memorizing is required because, see, you have to understand things and write them in examination. But for writing that, you have to retain that. No? Once you understand, it will not be enough unless and until you retain it. And for retaining, you need to memorize. So how do you memorize? Okay, memorizing is the connecting dots. Okay, so you need to understand that you need to do multiple revisions or use acronyms or mind maps. Okay, some writing, charts, keywords. These are some techniques. As per one's comfort, he can pick. Okay, whatever is suitable or comfortable to you, you can use, but memorizing has to be done. I'm not saying completely you rectify things, understand things properly, and then try to memorize it. Okay, using these type of things, and then write it in the examination. Sir, which books shall I be referring? Now I'm doing revision, so which book shall I read? In which sequence I should read? The answer is very simple. Okay, rather all the answers which I'm giving is simple. Only thing is it's sort of brushing up, or it's sort of those who are confused at least will get confidence after watching this video that yes, I have to do this. Okay, so first thing, refer the same book which you have been using in your classes. Okay, whatever book your teacher has used, whatever material the teacher has given, because you have been reading that, you're comfortable with that, so use the same stuff. Plus, if you have prepared your summary notes in the classes, then use that as well along with it. It will give you a lot of confidence. Once you do that, then go for ICAI study material. Okay, ICAI, right? You cannot forget ICAI resources, ICAI books. So follow ICAI study material. Then you can go for past examination questions, RTPs as well, mock test papers as well. All these you need to solve if you have time. If you don't have time, obviously you cannot, but you have to take out time and try to solve this. This will give you confidence. Okay, the more questions you solve, you get the confidence, right? The more questions you see, again, that will help you to take out that fear of the examination, right? And lastly, the compiler. Sometimes you'll find some compilation of questions posted on ICAI, or maybe your teacher might have given. So that, right, you can refer as well. Acha. So you'll say, sir, suppose I have I have completed topic 1 of Indian Contract Act. Immediately shall I go to ICAI study material and read it? Yes, you can do that. And there are some questions also at the after the completion of the topic in ICAI books, that is study material. So shall you read, do you think you should be reading that as well? Yes, you can read that. Okay, but you might say, sir, we don't have topic wise questions. Then what do I do? Suppose you have only you have some set of questions for complete Indian Contract Act. Then read the complete Indian Contract Act and then solve those questions. But if you have topic wise question, then solve it after each topic. Same way, Sale of Goods Act. If you have topic wise, okay, Sale of Goods Act is a unit in which you have different topics. So if you have topic wise questions, solve them after reading it. If you don't have, then complete the reading of the unit Sale of Goods Act and then solve the questions relating to it. Okay. Yes. Sir, any other author's book and all shall I refer? See, it's not required as such. This much is itself, going to take time. So don't try to experiment too much with other author's book or something else. Okay. Next, then, sir, what shall be the sequence for the topics which I take? Okay, when I'm reading, which topic shall I read first? Which topic shall I read later? Right? I'm talking about business law. So I'll say follow the same sequence which has been used in the class. So if Indian Contract Act was taught first, use that. Okay. Later, Sale of Goods Act, then Partnership, then Companies Act, and then LLP. This is the sequence you should follow. Okay, ideally. So if this is the sequence followed in your classes, follow the same. At least for first reading, after completion of classes, now you're going to start with first reading. Follow this sequence. And after this, the second reading or the subsequent reading, you can follow as per your comfort. But first time, follow the same as has been used in the classes. Achha, next, sir, sequence for studying subjects. How can I say that, right? I cannot comment on that, but still, I would talk about the last 2 weeks, which is very crucial, which is very important before the examination. So if I am talking about the accounts examination, okay, let's say I'm talking about the accounts examination. Before that, what you should be reading? Obviously accounts. So I would say last 3 days before the examination should be for accounts. Before that, 4 days should be spent for paper 2, that is business laws and BCR. Before that should be paper number 4, economics and BCK. Okay, 3 days you can spend. And then math, stats, LR. So this is how the last 2 weeks should be spent. Okay, immediately before exam, accounts. Before that, the subjective, the theory paper, so-called theory paper, paper 2. Because you can retain it more, right? It will be fresh. And then before that, the MCQ based papers, that is economics, BCK. And before that can be math, stats, and I've written the number of days as well. 4 plus 3, 7, 7 plus 4, 11, 11 plus 3, 14, right? So 2 weeks program. Okay, this is the sequence of the subjects which you can follow with number of days as specified. Okay, then, sir, is mock test or test going to be helpful? If I write those tests or mock tests, going to be helpful? I would say if you have written the test earlier, periodical test you have written while attending your classes or watching your classes, then very good. Now you don't have to do it again. Okay. Now you don't have to do it again. But if you have not done it earlier, you should be doing it, because the tests are going to help you understand where you lack, which areas you need to improve, where you need to focus more, and obviously it will be helpful. Second thing, sir, I've already written the test earlier, but I'm not having that confidence, or I was not having that confidence. So should I write it now? Yes, you need to do that. So if you have not written it earlier, or if you don't have the requisite confidence, please do it now. Okay, do it now. Mock test is mandatory. There's no skipping of mock test. No skipping of mock test. Mock test will give you an idea of examination condition. How exactly will be the situation? I mean, during the examination, you'll get to know how exactly you need to prepare in that 1.5 days. You'll get to know. So that will give you a lot of confidence. So you have to write. It will give you enough confidence to get a feel of the examination conditions. Okay. So please don't skip it. Test also, I'm not saying skip it. I just said if you have attempted earlier, if you've written earlier and you have that confidence, then you may skip and do just revision part, solving part, writing practice, and then write the mock test. Okay. Next, how much and what time shall we study? This is again a question which I was like, how do I answer this? How much time shall we study? And what time shall we study? Brahma Muhurtam, morning 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, should I get up and start studying? Actually, 3 o'clock is not Brahma Muhurtam, it's late night, right? But 4, 5 is what normally people ask. So I would say that I am not a person who follows that, okay? But before that, how much time to study? There's no fixed rule to this. It all depends on you. How well you have attended the classes, how well you have understood the concept, how well you have written those periodical tests, that will decide. But still, generally I'll say, or what you should be spending is 8 to 9 hours a day, right? That is required to revise the subject multiple times, to read the subject multiple times, write mock test and all. 8 to 9 hours is what you should be spending now for the next, around 2 months of time. And then coming to what time we study, as I was telling you, I'm not type of person who will get into that getting up at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. I believe in one simple funda of following the rule of nature. Okay, nature says you should work during the day, work in your case will be study, and relax during night. So based on that, I have quoted one example. If you like it, you can use the same or accordingly make changes. Like 7 to 9, 2 hours you can study in the morning. Okay, 7 to 9. I'm not saying 5 o'clock in the morning. Then take a break, have breakfast and all. Then 10 to 2 can be your slot for writing test or attending classes, okay, revision class or something like that, or maybe some marathon you're attending, so writing test there, or writing practice you want to do, or study as per your comfort. Okay, and then 4 to 7 again 3 hours, and then 8 to 10 is again 2 hours. So like that, 7 hours easily you can study, and that 4 again writing test part, that can also be used for study. So it's not that difficult. 8 to 9 hours you can easily take out time and you can study. Okay. Then, sir, what should I study one day before exam? Right? What should I study one day before exam, and how should I study? So what should I study? Please remember, don't study anything new one day before examination. Don't study from any new book one day before examination. Take care of that. Even avoid solving questions one day before examination, unless and until you say, sir, a particular question will help me revise a concept, and that too in lesser time. Okay, then do that. Otherwise, skip solving questions. That's not the time. One day before exam I'm talking about. Okay. Then how we should study. So please understand that you have to scan every page of every topic. Each page of every topic you should be scanning. You should be turning them and trying to recall the concepts, and read only the marked portion, highlighted portion, ticked portion. That means when you were doing revision, you should know that what things you need to study one day before examination. You should put a tick mark there, or whatever color of highlighting you want to use, you should be, so that you don't miss it out one day before exam. Okay. Then refer glossary if you have prepared. Sir, what do we mean by glossary? Important section numbers, important penalties, important legal words, right? Like that, you might have prepared few things in the glossary. So you can refer that as well one day before examination. Okay. If you're thinking of reading each and every line, each and every word, solving each and every question one day before examination, that won't happen. That is not possible. Don't even attempt it. Don't even try to do that. Okay. My sincere advice. Yes. So this was another question. Then, sir, shall we prepare short notes? Now, see, please, it's not the time to prepare short notes and all. That should have been prepared while attending classes, right? But not now, because it will be purely a waste of time. Okay, you don't have so much of time that you prepare short notes and all. But for some complicated topic, you say I want to prepare selected topics, you want to do that, you can go ahead. Okay. Now people will ask, sir, if we don't prepare short notes, what is the alternative? Highlighting, right? Underlining the keywords and all. That's the only way. You can skip short notes. Okay, or you have not prepared short notes, this is the alternate available. Right, sir, how many number of revisions shall I do? Right, how many number of revisions? So what is suggested here, or what I can suggest here, is it should be 4 plus 1. 1 is nothing but your 1 day before examination stuff. Okay, 1 day before examination anyways you'll revise. Before that I'm saying 4 readings. 1 during the classes, during the batch you do, correct? While attending classes you study, so that is 1 reading. I'm considering that as 1 reading. You cannot skip that. And then 1 reading is after completion of classes but before appearing for or before writing mock test. That's 1 more reading. Then during mock test you will be studying. Suppose you are writing 2 mock tests, but still I am taking it as 1. Okay, that's 1 reading. You'll say, no sir, we are writing 2 mock tests. Still I'll say 1 reading. Okay, because who knows, you are not able to complete the study in first mock test itself. 100% coverage you are not able to do. So whatever percentage you complete in mock test, the remaining you should complete in mock test 2. With that I'm saying 1 more reading you are able to do. And then after completion of mock test, that is the last 2 weeks are very important, that is 1 more reading. So this is how 4, and then 1 day before examination is 1 more. Okay, so 4 plus 1. Sir, but I'm not able to do it. I'm only able to do it. I'm only able to complete 3 plus 1. It's okay. What is suggested is this, but if you're not able to do that, okay, and you're able to do 3 plus 1, that is also fine, provided you're doing it properly, thoroughly. Okay. Next. Sir, what's the paper pattern here in business laws? So I hope you have seen that, but still if you have not seen, question number 1 is compulsory. Out of the remaining 5 questions, you have to answer any 4. Okay, first is compulsory, but out of the remaining 5, 4. So put together 5 questions you have to answer. And each question will have a weightage of 12 marks. So that's where 60 marks. 40 marks is the weightage for BCR. 60 marks is the weightage for business laws, right? Internal choice also might be there in some question 3 or 4, internal choice. And then question might have, every question will have bits as well, not might, but will have bits 2 to 4, sometimes 2 bits, sometimes 3, 4 is what they have. And those bits also might have 2 marks weightage, 4 marks, 3 marks, 6 marks sometimes. Okay, so accordingly, the weightage also will be decided. Now coming to the topic wise weightage, if you just observe, I have written on the right hand side, right? Indian Contract Act has a weightage of approximately 22 marks. Sale of Goods Act around 15 marks. Okay, Indian Partnership Act around 15 again on an average. Companies Act the same way. LLP Act has got a very less weightage, that is 5 marks. Few people decide that they will not study LLP Act because anyways that doesn't come under compulsory question. So if you just see the C which I have written here, normally they ask compulsory question from these topics: Indian Contract Act, Sale of Goods Act and Companies Act. So that's where people think that, oh, LLP Act only 1 question, 5 marks, we can skip that topic. No, please remember one thing, ICAI has got the trend of changing the trend. ICAI has got the trend of changing the trend. So don't believe ICAI too much. Okay, so be prepared for every topic. So that's where I'll say don't skip that. Who knows, they ask this question from LLP in compulsory one. This is only the trend, past trend. Who knows, they follow the same trend or they change it. So this is just to give you a rough idea about the weightage of the marks for each of the topics which is there in your syllabus. Okay. Achha, you'll say, sir, 72 marks, but you said the weightage is for 60 marks. See, this is excluding choice. I have not excluded choice. So that's where it's 72 marks. First question compulsory and then 5 questions. So 6 questions into 12, 72. Correct. Now you can decide which one you want to skip. I mean in the choice. Okay, sir. Then next, do's and don'ts during the examination time as well as revision time. Checklist, again, examination time is very important. So first I would like to talk about the checklist for the exam during the examination time or for the exams. Take care that you carry the hall ticket. Okay, I'm talking about first the checklist. So carry the hall ticket. Carry sufficient stationery, which includes pens. Pen, not just pens. Okay, sorry, not just pen but pens. So carry some 2-3 pens. Yeah, slip of tongue, I'm sorry. So don't just depend on one pen and then borrow and or steal in the examination hall. It's not good. And then pencil, eraser, scale, calculator. My dear friends, carry calculator in each paper, during each paper. Even if business laws paper is there, still carry the calculator. Who knows, some calculation has to be done for calculation of damages or some penalty they are asking you to calculate per day penalties there. So carry calculator and carry the same calculator which you have been using in the exam in the classes or in your preparation time. Don't experiment with the calculator as well. Okay, and if possible, carry a spare calculator as well, especially in accounts and maths paper where you know it is quite important or useful, isn't it? So carry a backup calculator if possible, right? And then examination pad you can use. So these are things again which you should take care. Then don't carry any mobile, any tab or any other electronic device. Be careful. Similar way, don't carry any book or any sheet, or in the on the examination pad, don't write something and go. Okay, in the paper also take care that don't write Jai Mata Di or maybe Om Ganeshaya Nama and all in the answer sheet. Don't do that, please. Then carry a water bottle plus juice, buttermilk, or maybe coconut water, whatever. So you can carry if you want. Don't carry eatables and all. Okay, don't start eating and write. Please avoid that. And then comfortable and decent clothing is what is expected there. Decent clothing because you're writing examination there. And comfortable because you should be comfortable, right? If you're not comfortable, then if it is irritating, you may be irritated, and in that irritated mood, if you're writing the answers, obviously it will not be worth. So take care of that. Okay, and because now COVID scenario going on, so I would suggest follow those safety measures, precautionary measures which are, or the guidelines which are issued by the government as well as ICI. Don't forget to follow those, like wearing mask and then shield or other things, social distancing and all. So take care of that stuff. Okay, so this is the checklist as far as the examination is concerned. Then during the examination time or the revision time, some do's and don'ts which you have to follow. Healthy diet, do's I'm talking about first. Okay, a healthy diet. And what is healthy diet? Again, I have written it here. I'll not be speaking about it much. Okay, but on the next slide you have that. So then water, adequate water, so that you're not dehydrated. Then juice or coconut water, buttermilk, anything. Sleep is very important. Okay, adequate sleep, 6 to 8 hours is must. 6 to 8 hours, 6 hours continuously, and then afternoon time 1 hour if possible, a nap. Okay, afternoon or whatever time. Examination time, it will be difficult because you're writing examination between 2 to 5. So make sure that when you write the mock test, write during that time itself. Okay, 2 to 5 or 2 to 4 as the case may be. You should be writing mock test during that time so that you understand that situation. Okay, then recreation is again important, like as we say, no, all work and no play will make Jack a dull boy. So it's important that you go for right recreation, like listening to some songs, soft music, something, or maybe you're interested in dance or maybe sport, workout, something of that sort. Some recreation on a daily basis is must. Some workout on a daily basis is must. Okay, please take care. Just studying will not help. It will rather, this workout will help you to improve your concentration as well. People laugh when I say yoga, meditation and all, but remember, this is very, very important. So you can take break during the time, anyways you'll be taking some break, so make sure that you do that. Okay, or early morning if possible. Cleanliness, like people think that if they grow beard or they don't go for a haircut, okay, then only they are preparing. No, nothing like that. Please be clean. Okay, maintain cleanliness. Good hygiene is important. Don't fall sick one day before examination and then cry that, oh, because of ill health I couldn't write my exam. Please don't do that. Prayer, right? दुआएं बहुत important होती है, boss. Then positivity, confidence, right attitude is important. Okay, so that's where all these do's and some etc. That I mean some more things. So that's where I've written etc. Coming to don'ts, very important thing, that don't discuss the question paper after each examination. Okay, after the exam gets over. If you finish your accounts paper, don't start discussing accounts paper after coming out of that examination hall. Go home, start preparing for business laws rather than discussing that accounts paper. That postmortem, anyways, you can do it after completion of all the papers, all the exams. Correct? Anyways, you'll be sitting idle till the results, right? So that time you can use it, but not immediately after completion of each exam, right? Then second important thing, okay, which you should not be missing out, which you should not do, is don't lose confidence if you've spoiled one paper. If you've spoiled one paper, remember there's another paper, correct? Now you might say, sir, if you have spoiled last paper, that anyways you can, get irritated, pissed off. But I'm talking about first, second, third. If you spoil any of these papers, don't carry that negativity in the next paper. Don't just, quit the examination, please. Okay, because who knows, you have written it well, but you are thinking as per your expectation you have not written, or who knows, you have written not that good, but you might still get some passing marks, and who knows, you get easily 50 plus in overall. So take care of this. Okay, don't lose confidence after any paper. Then what you should be avoiding is usage of mobile, TV and all. If at all you want to use mobile, I would say before you sleep in the night, like half an hour, 15 minutes to half an hour time, you can use it. Okay, why I'm saying late night, before sleeping, because if anything which is disappointing or which is not keeping you, which is not putting you in a good mood, you can sleep and forget that, or at least the effect of that will get erased to a maximum level when you get up early in the morning next day. So that's where I'm suggesting, don't use mobile during the daytime. At the end, okay, end of your day, before you sleep. You can use that if you want, but if possible, please avoid. As far as possible, please avoid during the day. Only at the night time. TV again. Then nervousness, negativity, junk food you should avoid. Functions, birthdays, wedding, festival, forget everything now. Please remember, you want to become a CA, correct? You have to complete your CA foundation in your first attempt. So please make sure that you're committed to this course, right? Festivals, functions, birthdays will anyways come next year as well. So you can celebrate them later, okay? So that's again my suggestion. Again, to follow or not, it's your wish. India is a democratic country anyways. Yeah. So as I was telling you, healthy diet, and I'm a pure vegetarian. So I've written about the vegetarian diet here, though I'm not an expert here. I'm not a dietitian or anyone, but then I've followed this. I've been following this, and it has helped me. So I'm suggesting it. So you can anyways see this particular file, which will be the link for this particular file will be in the description of this video. So you can have a look at it. What should be avoided, what should be included, and when you're talking about avoiding, there are some substitutes also I have written. So you can just have a look at it if you're interested. Same way workout I've talked about. Then, sir, almost all of the questions you have answered, or all the questions you have answered, right? But still, if we have some questions or still we need some help, will you be still guiding us, helping us? And the answer for that is, of course, yes. Of course, yes. Join my Telegram group. Again, the link for the same will be in the description, and stay in touch, right? If you want to test, again, you'll say, sir, how do you think that, you'll be helping us? See, you pose a question, I'll be helping you out. I cannot, tell you now, but then you just try. If you have any doubts or if you want any sort of help, you let me know. I'll try my level best to help you out. Okay. So one example for that, see, again, the roadmap. Sir, what should be the roadmap for me now? See, I have divided into some parts, like 11th September to 4th of October, preparation plus test, periodical test you can write if you have not written them earlier, or if you don't have the requisite confidence. Then again some break or preparation again, then mock test 1, okay, then again some break or preparation time, then mock test 2, and then preparation, those last 2 weeks. This is very, very crucial, right? And then examination. And after that, till results, again, don't waste your time. After exams, till results, start planning for your CA Inter. Start planning, okay, or preparing for CA Inter. Work out those options, which or the classes where you have to join, or which are the subjects, what is the exact methodology in CA Inter. All those things you should be doing it, okay? Because see, it's not that complete 2 months you'll be doing all this, right? But in between, do this. It will be quite helpful once your results are out, okay? So there also we can be helpful if required, okay? If you connect with us, we'll be helping you out. Lastly, I would say, don't stop when you're tired. Stop when you're done. And one more thing, or one more quote: it does not matter how slowly you go, as long as you do not stop. Right? I believe in it. That's where I've written it. Thank you so much. God bless you all, and all the best for your examination. Okay? Good luck. Bye-bye. Thank you.